Welcome to the Michigan Works Association 2020 Annual Conference. My name is Jeff Cassidy. I am the Director of Policy with the Michigan Works Association. On behalf of the staff at the association and all of our sponsors, we thank you for being a part of the conference in this session titled LMI Refresher Course. A big shout out of thanks to Michigan Works 7B for sponsoring today's workshop session. Our sponsors help make this conference happen, and we're very thankful for their support. Along with our sponsors, our exhibitors who have also given their time to be part of our event. Be sure to visit the exhibitor booths during the designated exhibit hall times. Before we begin today's session, there are a few housekeeping items I need to share with you. Please make sure your audio is muted. If you do have questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll collect those questions and we will try and answer as many as we can at the end of the session. We're eager for your feedback about the conference and this session, so please take a few moments to complete the short survey. There's a link in the chat area and I'll put the link in again later if there's a lot of questions and a lot of comments. The presentations will be available after the conference on the Michigan Works Association website. And now I would like to introduce your speaker for this section, Dr. Leonidas Murembya, Economic Specialist with the State of Michigan. Dr. Leo?
Thank you, Jeff. Hello, everyone. This workshop is a quick refresher on how to retrieve and use data from the Bureau of Labor Market Information and Strategic Initiatives. As Jeff said, I am Leonidas Murembya. I'm an economic specialist with the Bureau. The Bureau of Labor Market Information and Strategic Initiatives is your one-stop shop for information and analysis on Michigan's population, labor market, and more. Our Bureau has two divisions. Our Federal State Programs Division runs the state cooperative agreements with the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and the U.S. Census Bureau, making us the official source for this information. We also have a Research and Evaluation Division, which conducts workforce research and program evaluation, giving you the insight you need to make smarter decisions. In this workshop, we are going to learn about the new features of the Bureau's website. We are going to use the data search tool to customize and download labor market data. We have also created customized Excel tables, and we're going to learn how to download those Excel tables from our Bureau website. And lastly, we're going to talk about the most recent products that our Bureau has put out for your use in your everyday activities. So we have 6 data programs that we run. The Local Area Unemployment Statistics, or LAOS, the Occupational Employment Statistics, or OES, the Quarterly Census of Employment and Wages, or QCEW, the Current Employment Statistics, or CES. We also have a program on population count estimates and projections. And we do occupational employment projections. Among the recent products, I'm going to talk about the Michigan's labor market news, the Michigan's Hot 50, the Michigan's Career Outlook through 2028. These 2 products, we just published them in July of this year. I'm going to also talk about the Regional Career Outlook through 2026 and the 2020 Annual Planning Information and Workforce Analysis Reports that we just published right before the pandemic started. So let's get into these programs. The Local Area Unemployment Statistics, or LAOS, is the program that produces estimates of regional and state employment and unemployment rates. In this program, employment and unemployment numbers are by place of residence. Each person is counted only once, regardless of how many jobs they hold. So if somebody is working in Jackson County, but resides in Ingham County, that person in this program will be counted in Ingham County. If that person has a job in a permanent job in Jackson County, and in the evening goes to a Meyer in Ingham County, let's say Eden County, to work extra hours, supplementary employment, whatever you call it, that person is still counted only once in this program as employed and living in Ingham County. Very little nuances, but that are very important. Occupational employment statistics. These programs is the program that produces employment and wages by occupation every year. It is based on an employer survey, which asks employers to provide the job titles that they have, the employment in each of those job titles, and the wages or the compensation, just the wage, no benefits, that they pay to their employees. Our staff will convert those job titles into about 800 plus standardized, official, agreed upon by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics occupations. And every year we produce employment for each of those 800 plus occupations and the wages that they pay. So we're going to come back and see how they look like. We also produce payroll jobs by industry. There are two programs to do that. We have the current employment statistics and quarterly census of employment and wages. The current employment statistics is based on a monthly survey of businesses and produces the most current estimates of payroll jobs and earnings by industry. These estimates are usually have a lag of a month. So for example, right now we are producing estimates for August, which will be produced at the end of this month, September. The caveat of this is that it's produced for a few areas. It doesn't cover every area of Michigan. It's produced only for the state and 14 metropolitan statistical areas. So what happens if you live in an area that is in a county that is outside those 14 metropolitan statistical area? Then your best source of payroll industry, payroll jobs is this quarterly census of employment and wages, or QCEW. QCEW is a near census of employment and wages for businesses. And because it's based on administrative reports from the UI agency, its publication takes a little bit longer, usually a lag of 6 months. So for example, right now, we are working on the first quarter of 2020. This is the quarter that is going to tell us in every county of Michigan how much we've lost of payroll jobs. These are being compiled and will be published sometime in October. One of course, the advantages of this QCEW is its geographic coverage. It's published down to the county. Okay, so any county of Michigan will have this data published for the first quarter of 2020. Right now we have the fourth quarter of 2019 and the annual averages of that year. And in October of this year, you're gonna have those, the first quarter of 2020. I must say that in these two programs, a person is counted by place of work. So that means that if somebody holds more than one job, they can be counted multiple times. That same person I talked about who works one job in Jackson, another job in Eden County, and lives in Ingham County is going to be counted twice, once in Jackson and the second time in Eden County. That person is not going to be counted in Ingham County because they don't have a job in Ingham County. They live in Ingham County. As I mentioned before, we also produce, everybody is familiar with the census, decennial population censuses. You should be, because this year we are in the decennial, the 2020 census. So this is probably a good way to remind you that if you haven't done so, you should be completing your census with the Census Bureau. We do not produce this data. This data is produced by the U.S. Census Bureau. We do help the U.S. Census Bureau in terms of reviewing their estimates, in terms of giving them information needed for them to actually produce the best data possible. Okay, and then the U.S. Census Bureau funds what they call the state data centers. This is a partnership to make this census data available to local users like you, like me, like everyone in Michigan. But a few years back, we were asked by the state of Michigan, and we were funded by the state of Michigan. So this is a state of Michigan initiative to actually produce population projections. So this population projections is not funded by the U.S. Census Bureau. It's funded by the state of Michigan. And right now we have projections to 2045. And I'm going to show you in a minute how those projections look like. We also do employment projections by major industries and for those 800 plus occupations. Those projections are for the state of Michigan. The statewide projections can be short-term and long-term long-term meaning 10 years, short-term being 2 years. But for local areas, we only have long-term projections. And I'm going to also show you how they look like in a minute. So let's really get into accessing the data. So the slides that I have on this accessing data is really, I took snapshots of our website and put them there for you to see how we do it. But since we can take advantage of technology, what I'm going to do, you're going to have these slides. You can refer to them later whenever you want. But right now, I'm going to actually go on our website and see if I can go step by step and show you how you can download the data. So we're going to learn how to use the data search tool of our website. Let's hope that this technology is not going to fail us. So I'm going to get out of this presentation, and I'm going to I'm actually going to start anew to show you how easy it is to get on our website. If you go michigan.gov/LMI, I'm hoping that everybody is seeing this website. Jeff?
Yes.
You can see the website?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Michigan, not /gov, michigan.gov/LMI, and you get to our website with many tabs at the top. You have a ribbon of different things that are happening in our bureau. So we're going to start by using this data tools tab. So if you click on that, you have something called data search. This is the one that really you use most frequently to download our data. So if you click on that, you get a menu of the different things, different types of data, different categories of data you can get from our bureau. So if we start, for example, wages, let's say we are all interested in how much people or ourselves are being paid or can be paid potentially. And so let's say you click on wage, and it's telling you that there are two programs when you can get information on wages in Michigan. This first program that we talked about, the Quarterly Census of Employment and Wages, the QCEW, gives you wages, weekly wages by industry. So if you're just interested on how much on average somebody makes every week in manufacturing, or let's be very specific, in transportation equipment manufacturing, you can get that here. Okay. If you're interested in wages by occupations, so let's say, for example, you want how much a registered nurse makes in Alpena County, okay, this is where you're going to get it. So let's see what we get. Okay. So we are interested in a registered nurse wage in Alpena County. For those of you who have used our website, this is something very new that just actually happened over the weekend, or a few days before the weekend. We because we are part of a consortium with many Midwest states developing these websites. Now you can actually have access to all states, all 50 states of the Union, of the US. You can get this data for all those states. The default, of course, on our website is Michigan, but if you click on this arrow, you're going to see that you can download any, so you can, if you want to compare how much a registered nurse makes in Maine to Michigan, you can do that, okay? If you want to download the same data for Maine counties or whatever areas that they publish, you can do that. So you can see that all the states are available. So, but we are interested in Michigan today. So we're going to leave it to Michigan. And so we know that the area type is the state. But if you click in the arrow, you can see other area types that you can get within the state of Michigan. There's something called, so I talked about the 14 metropolitan statistical area. And we have something called the balance of state. These are different areas, big areas of the state that are not part of metropolitan statistical areas. And unfortunately, Alpena is not part of a metropolitan statistical area. And so I want to know where Alpena is. And so I'm going to check this balance of state. Okay. And then I'm going to go into areas. So I'm going to now select area. And this is what I'm going to say, where is Alpena? I know Alpena is not in the UP, so I'm going to uncheck that one. I know that Alpena is not in South Central Michigan. I'm going to uncheck that one. I know that Alpena is not in Northwest Lower Peninsula, so I'm going to uncheck that one. So I'm left with Northeast Lower Peninsula. So that's the whole region 3 that we know, right? And so I want to compare how much registered nurses are paid in Northeast Lower Peninsula and Michigan. So you're going to ask me, so how come I can't really get the information for Alpena, for the county that I want? And the answer is the sample size, okay? This data is based on sample of businesses. And so the smaller the area, as you go into sparsely populated, lower density of businesses areas, you're now going to have enough sample to produce data for a small area. If you do, you're going to have, yes, it's going to produce estimates, but they're going to have very large margin of errors, and it's not going to tell you that much, okay? But one thing that you need to know that in Northeast Lower Peninsula, whether you are in Alpena or Sheboygan or any other county around, the difference in pay for different occupations is not going to be that much, okay? And so that whole area, chances are people are paid almost the same, at least within the margin of error. And so that's the answer. The latest estimates are for 2019. As I said, we produce these estimates every year. They are produced, they are published sometimes in April, and we have a lag of 1 year, okay? And so in April of next year, we're going to be producing 2020, et cetera, et cetera. This industry level industry, they are immediately auto filled. And so now you need to check these different types of occupational levels. We can spend a half day talking about the classification of these occupations. And if you want to learn about this, you need to attend our 3-day training that we do. It's a training that we do in partnership with the Michigan Works Association. And we do that every August. Unfortunately, this August, because of the pandemic, we were not able to do it. But we are hopeful that next year we're going to be doing that. And I'm hoping that among those who are attending this refresher, there are many who graduated from our 3-day training. And so I'm just going to tell you that, registered nurse is very detailed, okay? And so I'm going to, what I do when I have this, by default, everything is checked. I will click on this all to uncheck everything. Okay, so I'm going to click on all and then uncheck everything. And then I want to just check detailed. Okay. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to look for the occupation I want. And that's the registered nurse. As you can see, again, every occupation, so we're talking about 800 plus occupations are checked. So if you wanted to download this whole thing, right, on your computer, you can do that. But I'm just looking for registered nurse. So I'm going to uncheck everything. So by clicking on this all, and then I'm going to type here, you can see at the top, it's telling me you can actually search. And so if I start typing registered, okay, you can see that it's starting to narrow it down to registered nurse, and it's the only one actually here. And so I'm going to check that and say apply. And as you can see, now my computer is narrowing down to, how come I have, okay. It looks like there's, when I was in areas, I didn't apply, so it's giving me everything. So I need to click on apply. And so it's, if you don't click on apply, it looks like it doesn't do that. So you need to click on apply. And so we have registered nurse. Now let's see what kind of wages I can get. I can get annual wage, or I can get hourly wage, okay? Let's keep them that way. And actually you can see that right here, okay? You can see that on the table here. For Michigan, for example, the average pay is $35.19. And in Northeast Michigan, it's $31.77. Okay. Now, so if you've taken a little bit of statistics, you know what the mean is, and you know the different flows that the mean has. It averages the high and the lows, and gives you that number that is in between. If you don't want to have that problem, you can look at this, what we call the percentiles. And at the beginning, we have what we call entry-level wage. This is if somebody is entering the workforce for the first time. What kind of wage do they expect? What is the wage for that person on average in Michigan and in Northeast Michigan? And you can see in Michigan, it's $27 per hour and 58 cents. In Northeast is $26. Okay. The percentile is if you arrange your data, if you sort your wages from lowest to highest, this $26.33 will be at the 10th place, 29 at the 25th place, 46 at the 50th place, so the median, and so forth. It looks like there's a mistake here. There's no way the median can be 46 and the 75th. So sometimes this is where you find some mistakes in your data. So I'm going to follow up with my the staff that produces this data to see what kind of mistake is happening here. And this is where, when you see this kind of mistake, you reach out to us and say, hey, I was downloading this data. And I know many of you are pretty good with this. I get so many questions about our data all the time. And I appreciate that when you find this kind of mistake, you don't shy away to let us know. But anyway, so this is how you do that. So if you want to download this in an Excel spreadsheet, you can put your cursor in this table and you go into this download button right here and click on it and choose cross tab and then say download and open. I don't think you're going to see my Excel file, but it's opening my Excel. Do you see the Excel file?
No, I don't see an Excel file.
You don't see the Excel file. Okay. Let me move it to
There it is.
here. Now you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. So you can see that you can download the Excel file. And then you can play with it however you want. Okay. So, if we're going to come back to the Excel thing when we have actually a bigger table. I'm going to just, hold on, you know what? Let me just do this. Okay. So that's the wages. Everything else, so if I return to the categories, everything else is done the same way. Okay. So that's, for example, one of the most frequently asked question is, what is the unemployment rate in my area? So if you click on employment, or let's say unemployment, the only program that produces unemployment is the local area unemployment statistic. And so if you click on this, you're gonna see the familiar same thing: the state, the region, the area type, the area, the year, the period, etc. The only thing that is different is what are the variables that you get. In this program, you're going to get the number of employed, the total labor force, the number of unemployed, and the unemployment rate. Okay. And again, if you want to learn about these concepts in more details, take our 3-day training certification program. We go into details. We spend 3-4 hours just talking about this data. And so How do we define how do we know that somebody is employed? How do we know that somebody is unemployed, etc., etc.? Okay, but you can see that you can get this data for any state now. You can get this data is published not just for metropolitan areas, but down to the cities, to areas, any administrative area that has more than 25,000 people. We produce this data every month in this program. So this is a very important program to learn about. So for the sake of time, because we want to leave some 20 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes for questions, I'm now going to go into this, again, teaching you how to download, because the process is the same. Instead, I'm going to go into other programs. I talked about Excel files that we have. Other programs than just this. We talked about population estimates and counts. Okay, so if you click on this population, you can see the demographic data, and what our demographers have done is to really get the data that is publicly available from the U.S. Census Bureau to you. And so you can have population estimates for the whole state of Michigan from 2010 to 2019. You can have that population by age and sex. And of course, you can have that population projections for the state of Michigan. Okay, so if you click on that, it's going to really show you what is the projection that we have for the state of Michigan. And you can have those projections by age groups. So you can have from 0 to 4, 5 to 9, etc., etc. And of course, at the top, we have the total. So you can see that the total. You can customize this data. You see the same familiar way to customize the data at the top. So if you want to just look at female, you can go into sex and just say, hey, I don't want a total, but I want a female. Okay, and it's going to customize it for you. And of course, you need to click on apply, and it's going to tell you how many female we project to be in this year until 2045. Okay, you can choose just one age group and see how we project it's going to be. Okay, so all of that. But returning to this population, returning to this population demographics, not only we have these estimates and counts by the statewide, the metropolitan statistical area, the 14 that I talked about, but also by county and by sub-counties. So that's the beauty of the U.S. Census Bureau. It goes down to the blocks or groups of blocks. And again, if you want to learn about this in details, we spend 3-4 hours talking about population, all these areas of the census. We really go down and educate you to what these areas mean and the relationship between each of those areas and the state as a whole. Okay. We do also make available for you educational attainment of your population, which is something that information that I get requests about. And it's also published for the same different types of areas. We have information on health insurance. We have information on income and poverty. And we have information on migration of people. Okay, so all of this, if you really want to learn about that, you can either call us, contact us now. Calling is not send us an email and we will help you. Or if you really want to learn this, watch for emails from your directors of Michigan Works sometimes next year. If the pandemic, of course, we are hopeful that the pandemic will be controlled by that time. And you get an email and you will ask if you can be nominated to come to our training, and you're going to learn all these things as you want. I did talk about occupational projections. And what we've done is we've put these projections into Excel files, okay? I talked about for the statewide that we do short-term 2-year projections and 10-year projection long-term. And you can get them right here. Right now we have short-term 2019, 2021, and long-term 2018, 2028. For the regions, we have 2016, 2026, and you can have the industry projections. So if you want to know how we project manufacturing to be in the next 10 years, you're going to see that. If you have a specific project, a specific occupation, so if I click on this, it's going to open that Excel file, and I'm going to show you how it looks like just very quickly so that we can have time to answer some of your questions. So I'm going to move it, I'm going to move it to this side so you can see how it looks. So it gives you the base year employment for each of occupations, the total, the groups, like management groupings, and all the detailed occupations within management, business and financial occupations groups, and all the detailed occupations within that. And it gives you what we think it's going to be in 2026. And so that gives you the numeric change. So we're talking about here UP, Upper Peninsula, the percentage change. And then it gives you what we call the projected annual openings for each of these occupations due to labor force exit, due to transfer. So if you're going from one occupation to another, that means you're leaving an occupation, an opening somewhere else. Or if you're going from one area to another, you're leaving an opening in that area. And as a bonus, we also link the educational requirements, the work experience requirements, and the on-the-job requirements. This is something that people, there's a misconception of on-the-job training. It's not just the occupations that require low formal education that actually require on-the-job training, but every occupation. The best example is medical doctors. Before they become actually certified, they have to go through many years of on-the-job training. Okay. Same as teachers. You cannot become a teacher without doing that internship with a school district, et cetera, et cetera. So this is how it looks like. So you can use this to do many things. And in our 3-day training, we will go through this. We will show you tricks in Excel that you can use to do several things. It's these projections actually that allows us we use this projection to produce several products. And that's what I'm going to do in the next few minutes, is to go very quickly through the products that we make available for you. So for example, after we produce these long-term projections, 2028, we produce Michigan Hot 50 based on that, and Michigan Career Outlook. And to get to those, you use these publications, publication tab. The publication tab, the first thing that you're going to see is our most sort of publication that is called the Michigan's Labor Market News. This publication is a monthly publication, and it usually has a main or feature article on a topic that we know is dear to Michiganders, and then it gives the usual trends in employment, unemployment, payroll, etc., etc. So, for example, the latest edition of September 2020, we had an article on computer and IT-related occupations that can require an associate degree or less, okay? Which is something that people don't know or think it doesn't exist, but there are so many IT computer-related occupations that don't require too much training, too much formal training, okay? And that's the article. So you can browse through this. We have so many you can browse. One thing that I want to bring your attention to is this index page. If you click on this index page, you can actually browse this everything that we publish by titles. So if you want something on age, these are the different things that we've written on wages, on age. Let's say you want something on disability. You can go on D and say, hey, is there anything that you guys have written on disability? And I can see, disability right down here. Labor force characteristics of persons with a disability in Michigan. And I click on that, and they say, hey, you can open this in a PDF, if it actually does. Okay, you're probably not going to see that, but it's going to open. Oh, hold on, I'm going to show you that. It's going to show the labor market news, where we had a main feature article on disability. Okay, and so you can read this as you want and see what the market of disability of people with disability looks like in Michigan. Okay, so let me go back to publications, and if you go down to research, there you're going to see all this Hot 50 that we talked about. Hot 50, you can view poster. Again, it's going to open it in a PDF. And I'm going to show you how it looks like. So these are 50 occupations that we think are in demand and pay well for the next 10 years. But 50, again, what makes 50 better than 51? We don't want you to get just limited to this 50. And what we've done is we created what we call the career outlook. The career outlook, and this career outlook will give you this same mixture of favorable in-demand occupations that pay well by educational training, and even for STEM occupations. And so if you open this, you're going to see it's the same format as the Hot 50, but it's by different training requirement or of educational requirements. So what are the hard 50? The hard 25, I believe we give for occupations that require high school or equivalent and short-term training. You have those. What are the same occupations in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? And then if you go to the next page, you're going to see post-secondary, you're going to see associate degree, and then you're going to see bachelor's degree or higher. Okay. This is the same format that we have for regions. So if you go down here, you're going to see so if you don't see it on one page, you click on load the next 6 articles, and you're going to see more. So this is the one, the regional career outlook through 2026. And it really looks exactly like the Michigan career outlook, but it's now by regions, okay? So this is for you regional customers. We don't forget you. We produce all this also for regions. So if you click on that, you're going to see that the in-demand occupations by different educational requirements. Lastly, I want to talk about the annual planning report, the 2020 annual planning information and workforce analysis reports. This is for regional customers, really. And this is usually to help you with your strategic planning, okay? And what we've done, we've put more than 34 tables of data in this planning information in Excel. These are Excel data. Let me just click very quickly and show you how it looks like, but we're not going to go too much into details because we are running out of time, actually. I probably should stop right now to allow some questions. But you can see we go from population, okay, population, demographics, and all down. So if you scroll down, what is the last table that we give you? 36 is table on people living below the poverty line by different racial and ethnic groups. You have labor force status of older workers, et cetera, et cetera. So you have a wealth of information in these tables that you can use. And with that, we actually give you some analysis, and this is in a PDF, of some of the key elements of those tables. And so we have a short analysis of the trend in population, not only in the past, but also in the future. So we're talking about those numbers on population, that some that we get from the U.S. Census Bureau, others the projection that we produce ourselves, the educational attainment of that population, the unemployment. We go through different groups, like individuals with barriers to employment. These are all the population groups that were identified by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And we end with all these in-demand occupations that we talked about, okay? So I wanted to, so we have about 6 minutes. I don't know how the question and answer section goes. So I'm going to stop here and bring back my presentation.
I've got some questions that mainly around the certification.
Okay.
Is it possible to conduct the certification training virtually? Oh, I think I think we lost Dr. Leonidas. Well, for those of you that submitted questions, I got your questions, and I will do my best to get them answered if he comes back on. But if not, that was our presentation today. I'm going to stick around for a few minutes to see if he comes back online. But I want to thank our presenters. We appreciate everyone's time. I hope you had some great takeaways and enjoy all the features of our conference. Thank you for attending our conference, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So once again, I'm gonna stay online to see if he comes back on. But thank you for your time, and like I said, I will present the questions to him, and we'll try and get answers out. I'm back.
I got kicked off. Sorry.
No worries. There's still a few people that stuck around. So one of the questions was, can you do the certification program virtually?
Yes. Yes, we can. But we need to coordinate that with the Michigan Works Agency, of course.
Yeah.
And I guess I was talking to myself when I answered the question. I didn't know I was kicked off. Yes, we can do that. And actually, I had proposed that we do that through Zoom, but it got to, with this conference and everything that was going on, we decided to hold on for next year. So next year, whether we are still in quarantine or not, something is going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as the training next year, you had mentioned earlier in your presentation that there was some brand new features on the website. Will the training next year encompass those new features?
Yes, it will. Yes,
Okay.
it will. Yeah, we use the website intensively. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those were the questions that I had. So thank you very much for your time. And do you have any closing comments or closing statements?
Not really. I mean, people can reach us. Let me actually reshare my presentation to show the. Oh, hold on. Screen one. Let me do screen one. To share my contact information just for people to see. So can you see that contact information?
Let's see.
Can you see anything? No.
Well, it's really small.
You can't?
I can send it out. I can get your contact information and I can send it out.
How about this way? No.
Yeah, it's still pretty small.
Oh, they are pretty small.
But your presentation will be included on the website.
Okay.
And so people can take a look at it on our website.
Okay, great. So we have all this for people to contact us.
Yep.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. And we appreciate your presentation and look forward to moving forward.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.